Salesforce project activities. That means assume that IT company has received a project from the or a requirement from the client. Client gave the new requirement to build some new vehicle or new mobiles or something application they wanted to build. So we have received a project. When we received a project into the IT company, what happens? So, and what we work on it, like a daily activity, what we do. So whenever the IT company receives a project from the client, and if this deal is happen, like initially there is a deal happens between the client and IT company, saying that IT company says that we will deliver the project within 6 months or 1 year or a 2 months. If it is a small project, 2 months or a 1 month or a 3 months, or else it will take to the 6 months or 1 year, like a part by part, they will give the information to the client. Now, this is the deal happens. If this deal agrees between the client and IT company, now in the IT company, the team has started building up. Now, the team is nothing but like a business analyst, developers, architect, admin, right? Project manager, everything. They will recruit all the members to work on this project. So they will build the team. Now, in this team, the first person who is working on the project is business analyst and project manager, as well as the architect also involved in the initial phase. Now, BA responsibilities is to capture to write the requirements. What are the requirements? Now, if I have to build a certain application, what do we need to implement it in the Salesforce so that client can work on this with the automated process. Now they will write all the requirements. So assume that there are some 20 requirements are there. Assume that there are 20 requirements. All the 20 requirements she will keep in the, now whoever is the BA is there, BA will create all 20 requirements and keep it into the product backlog. Keep it into the product backlog. Now here product backlog is nothing but for the entire project, these many stories that we are going to implement it. Now in this product backlog, it's not a finalized backlog. It might add in the future also. DA can start working on. These are the initial backlog, but later after 2 weeks, it might go to the 31. So backlog is based on the like requirement. If clients are keep on adding the requirement, it will increase the backlog. So this is entire project backlog. And this backlog, it will give it to the architect and project manager. Now, architect will go through some of the stories and they will try to design the project. Now, based on the requirement, architect will design the project. That means they will create some design, like from the basic to the end, how the flows goes and how the data is stored in the Salesforce. What are the objects are involved in this entire project? And where do we need to automate the process? Everything the person will be designing. Now, once it is designed, then we will inform the team that we are going to start the project. Now, team in a sense, in the team, we have multiple people like a developers, testers, admin team, right? So these are the like a architect also will be involved. Now we will inform the team that we are going to start the work. So whenever we start the work, so the work cannot start on all the 20 products backlogs or all the 31 backlogs. It will start. That means in the initially out of this 20, we will take only 4 or 5 stories we will take. Only 5 stories we will take it. Because the initial stages, we might start taking up only few stories, which is called as a sprint backlog. We will take out the few stories and we will place it into the sprint backlog. So that means from the backlog, from the huge backlog, we will take only 5 stories and keep it into the sprint backlog. Sprint backlog is different. Product backlog is different. Product backlog is for the entire project. Sprint backlog. Now, sprint backlog is nothing but for a certain time, right? So there is a sprint will be there. This is basically the agile methodology. So mostly when you are working in a development, like if you are implementing a project from the scratch, Usually you will work on agile methodology. So in the agile methodology, we have a sprint. Now this sprint goes for the 2 weeks or 4 weeks. That means 2 week sprint or a 4 week sprint. It's all depending on the project manager. It's a 2 weeks or a 4 weeks. In these 2 weeks or in these 4 weeks, what can we implement? Those are pushed into the sprint backlog. So in the sprint backlog, these are the items are available. Now these items we have to resolve it within the 2 weeks or within the 4 weeks. So that is the how it is going to placed into the sprint backlog. Now architect will decide it. Architect or a developer, whoever it is there, now they can decide it what are the stories we can take it initially. Now for the sprint backlog, initially we'll have a sprint planning. That means we plan for a 2 weeks. What we can implement in 2 weeks, what we can implement in a 4 weeks. So we will do the planning. So in the planning, everybody gets involved, like a developer, testers, architect, especially these people will involve it. In this planning, developers will say that, okay, we will take this story. So this we can complete it in this sprint. So they will plan it, and based on the planning, the work is also distributed. So out of 5, now they will distribute. If I have a 3 members, it will distribute. First, they will take the 3 stories. Each one will take 3 stories. Now, if the person is saying that, okay, I can complete this story within 2 days. Now I have a 2 weeks of time. So I have a capacity of taking up another one. So that means this person will take another story. And this person is also take another story. So like that division will happen between the developers. That happens in the sprint planning. Now, sprint planning, we get a developers will get clarity, as well as the testing team also will get a clarity. What are we planning to implement in this sprint? Now, once the sprint planning is done, now its work will start immediately. Now, whenever the work is started, that means developer starts working on this story. So whenever the developer starts working on it, there is a daily activity which is called as a daily stand-up. Now, in this week, every day there is a daily stand-up will happen to the everybody, whoever is working on, like developers, admin, testers, the architect, everybody gets involved into this, project manager. Now, this daily stand-up is to track what are we doing it, like what did we complete yesterday, and what are we planning to do today, and how is there any blockers. So basically these 3 things which they will explain it. If there are any blockers, they will discuss in the daily stand-up. So usually this daily stand-up hold for a 30 minutes. Usually in the daily stand-up in the MNC company, it is just a 15 minutes, or it might extend to the 30 minutes. But usually it is a 15 minutes. If there are no blockers, everybody will just give an update. What did they complete yesterday, and what are we planning to do today? Now, if developer says that from last 3 days they are keep on working on only one story, then there is a question might raise from the BA or a project manager or a architect, like what is the problem? Why are we working on this story for last 3 days? Usually stories we cannot usually we take a story, small stories, which can be completed in maximum 3 days. And it goes beyond the 3 days or beyond the 5 days, then there has to be a reason why it is going beyond the 5 days to just complete the one story. So these are the discussion usually happens in the daily stand-up. Now, once the daily stand-up is done, now there is a sprint review. Everybody is going to start reviewing the stories. What did we complete in this sprint? As per the plan, did we complete it or not? If we have not completed, what is the reason? Why did not we complete it? So that next time, whenever we are planning it, we can keep that in our mind, saying that, okay, last time this is what happened. We cannot plan that story. So those are the sprint reviews happen. Now, once the sprint review is done, after completing the sprint, the session will end in 10 minutes. After the sprint completes, like that means at the end of the sprint, At the end of the sprint, there is a retrospective will happen. Retrospective is nothing but in entire 2 weeks. What did each person like it? What did they like it? And what did not like it? And if they did not like it, what could be the improvement for that? What could be the improvement? So these are the things they will discuss, the positive things and improvements, especially the positive points and the improvements. They will keep on discussing it. And if there are any resources are not available, or maybe during the sprint the resource is not available, or we did not get a proper testing done, so these kind of things they will do on the retrospective. Now this is the activities in the sprint. This is for a one sprint. Now whatever we have discussed right now, this is for single sprint. Like this, if we are planning for a project completion for 2 months, now in the 2 months, whatever the if it is goes for a 2 weeks, now you can divide it for the 60 days by the 2 weeks. Maybe it might go to the 4 sprints or a 3 sprints or 5 sprints. It might go to the 5 sprints. So based on the project deadline, they will divide the sprints. So like this is the first sprint. Now once this cycle is completed, again we will start the sprint backlog. Now first sprint backlog is completed. Now second one, again it will start. So like this cycle will keep on go on. It will go on. So till it completes the completing the requirements. So whatever the as per the plan of the product is there. So as per the product planning, now it will keep on going this sprint. So assume that we have completed the 2 months. Once it is completed the 2 months, now the next step is whatever we have implemented, everything gets deployed to the production. Now deploying to the production can happen after 2 months or can happen sprint by sprint. Now it's all depending on the project manager and client. Now how the client wants. If the client wants sprint by sprint, they wanted to see the deployment, then we can do the deploy. So usually in the real time, if we are working on the base project, so we will do the deployment. First deployment will happen after 1 month or a 2 month. Once we see that application is stable, then we will deploy that to the production. Now, once it is a stable means that client needs to confirm it. Okay, this is a stable, we can use this application. So once that is done, it can happen in the 2 months of work or 3 months of work. So that is the first deployment. Now, once the first deployment is done, then we will move on to the, they will say that maybe we can do it every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks. You can deploy it, what are the changes are there. But the first one, it will be always takes 3 to 6 months. So this is the project activities. Now we will be involved in our day-to-day activities. We will be involved in all these activities. Even developer can look at the product backlog, and we will be involved in all the sprint activities, and then till the deployment, everything in each activity, we all will be involved. Whoever is working in the Salesforce, we all will be involved in all the activities in daily. Now, in this activity, now where do we work on it? Now, where can I see the stories? Where can I see what should I need to work on it? So usually we will see our work in the Jira. Jira is an application. Jira is application, or else you can work on the ServiceNow. There is a few companies who use the ServiceNow. And there are few companies who use the Teams. There is a Teams will be there, so they will use the Teams also. So these are the different tools will be used to track the stories. Now, most of the companies use the Jira. So here what we will do is there is a different type of issues will be there. Epic, story, bug, and quality test, estimates, deployment. Right, these are the different issue types will be there. Now in this issue type, epic is nothing but a huge story. And this story has to be divided into the 2 parts, story 1 and story 2. Now this story should be divided into the smaller pieces. Now epic is a very huge one. Huge one will be divided into the smaller chunk. Now we will end up the session, we'll reconnect. It's continuing, let's continue. Okay, epic is a huge story. Now this huge story, now epic is the huge story. Now this huge story will be divided into the smaller stories. Now if developer says that this story can be handled in one sprint, then they will directly take this story. Otherwise, if developer says that this is also a huge story, we need to divide it into the smaller task. That means very smaller each task. Maybe this one will go to the sprint 1, this one will go to the sprint 2. So it's all depending on whether can we implement this story, or if the developer feels that okay, this is also a huge story, then what developer does is developer divide this into the smaller task. Now each task they will start working on it. This is a task 1. Now this task 1, task 2, they will start implementing the work. Now once this is done, we will deploy the changes. Assume that everything we have completed as per the plan. Now we will deploy the changes. After the deployment, that means after the production, live. Live is nothing but it is everything is working in the as per expected. Whatever the as per the product backlog is there, as per the product backlog, we have implemented all 20 stories or all 31 stories we have implemented and we delivered to the production. Now, once it is delivered to the production, that means we deploy to the production. There the development work is completed. Whoever is part of the development, they will only work on the epic stories task. Right now, they also work on the sometimes bugs. Bugs are nothing but maybe it is raised by the internal QA team or it is raised by the client. Bug is nothing but in this feature or in this functionality or in this story, there is an issue. So it is not working as per expected, or it is not working as per the story information. But in the story, we will write the description and acceptance criteria. So especially in the story, we'll have what will be there in the story? Story will have a subject. What is this story about? And it has a description. And what are we planning to implement? Like what was the issue? What are we planning to implement? And then what is the acceptance criteria? Acceptance criteria. And who is going to work on it? We will assign the story to that person. And when are we going to start it? Like, are we planning to start for the sprint 1 or a sprint 2? Which sprint are we planning to start this? Now, what is the status of it? Is it currently we have a new status, or a new means it is I can say that backlog. Backlog is nothing but still in the sprint backlog, or else is it a started, like a developer started picking up this in progress. Developer is completed, it's yet to go through the QA. So QA or testing. Now testing is found some issue, then it will come back to again in progress. Now next one is if there are any blockers, we'll sit into the blockers. Or waiting for a client response. Sometimes we need to wait for the client response on the stories. Client response, and then move to the production. Move to production. So these are the different status, and these are the different information will be available either task or a story. Task also will have, story also will have. So these are the subject with very basic level, a very high level. What is this task about? What is this story about? Description will give the detailed information. Now, what are we planning to implement as part of the story? Now, QA will look at the description and the acceptance criteria. Now, based on the description and the acceptance criteria, if QA says that, okay, this is not working as per the description or as per the acceptance criteria, then they will immediately raise a bug. Now they have to, developer or admin has to work on the bug. So mostly the developer will start working on the bugs, and client also can raise it, saying that like if this is not working for one of the user, or maybe it is not working for the one of the internal member. So these are the issues they might raise it. So they are the bugs. And we have another one after deployment, we have a improvement. Improvement tickets are like it's working, everything is working as expected, but it's required little bit improvement, or maybe we need to organize the page in a proper manner. So improvement task will be there. Improvement task will be there, or else there will be a new features. Now we'll have a new features. New features are nothing but like, so far everything is working on fine, but we wanted to also implement the new features. Let's say that right now we are capturing the vehicle information from the website. Now, once we capture it, now it is going to the, let's assume it is going to the thank you page. But instead of thank you page, I wanted to redirect it to the home page of the website. Now, this is the new feature that they wanted to do. Now, in this case, we have to start implementing. For this, again, we need to do the planning and give a story points to this. We have to give how many days we are going to complete this particular story. So points are nothing but it's like a one story point is nothing but 1 day work. 3 story point is nothing but 3 day work. 5 story point is nothing but 5 day work. If it is anything beyond the 5 stories, we will divide the stories into the smaller tasks. New features and whatever here epics or everything is there, this is the development team will work on it. And bugs also sometimes development team work on it, and improvement new features. Now there are few bugs which is a very easy one. Those can be handled by the admin team. The easy bugs, that means only the configuration side. Only the configuration side they can start working on it. Now admin can take care of the configuration side. In case if the admin team is not able to fix it, then they will pass that ticket to the developers. Now I'll provide you some referral link that I have explained in detail. The Jira link. Now let's say here if you want to create a Jira. Now can I practice the Jira? Like if I wanted to practice it, the Jira, go to this link. Now here you can create your own free Jira. Now this link is, I'm going to paste you. Now this is the where you can create a Jira. Now select whether you wanted to select a second product or anything, or else simply click on this next button. Once you click on this next button, do you want to continue with your Google or sign up with email? Whichever the one you wanted to do it, you can do it. So if you want to go with your Google account, you can go with your Google account. Let's say that I'm going with one of the account. Now let's say I'm going to say here, batch 5. Batch 5. Now click on this. This is already taken. Now let's say I cannot give capital, it has to be a small. So batch 5, Swapna IT. Now click on agree. Now once we clicked on this, it is going to create a Jira. Now it says that, do you want to have a what type of, like some questions it will be asked. Now if you want to skip it, just simply skip this, skip the questions. Now it takes some time. So a 5 minute maximum, it is a 5 minutes it will take. So in real time also, here we are creating the free account, but in real time it's a paid one. So company is going to take care of the paid one. So once the Jira is created, so they will create a account. That means credentials will be created for us. So as soon as we join the company, now they will say they will create a account. Now let's go for it. So this is the Scrum, this is the Kanban, this is the business. Whichever the one you wanted to go for, you can go for it. So right now I'm going with simple one. Or if you want to go with Scrum, you can go with Scrum also. So it supports the Kanban mode, or it supports the Scrum mode, it supports the business mode. Now click on the next button. So this is how the Jira looks like. So this is a Jira software, and this is your project. What are the projects you are working on it? All the projects will be seen into the project. Now, if you want to create your own project, click on this project and click on the create project. Now we are going to click on the new project, use this template. Now let's select the company. Now let's say I'm going to keep the project as, let's say Skoda. Skoda is the project. Click on next. Now go to the project. So now we are into the project. Now this is the Skoda project. So how many projects we are dealing in? One project. Now in the real time, you might work on one project or a multiple project. So if you want to switch your projects, just click on this project and go to the Skoda, or else go to the which are the project you wanted to go for it. Just click on that project so that the left side gets updated. In the left side, you will see the board. So that means current board, and if there is a timeline. Now, initially the timeline will be created by the BA or a project manager. And let's click on the board. Now let's say I'm going to create a new work here. Like I'm going to create a new issue. So this is the project. And if you want to filter out, you can click on the filter out, or if you want to create a dashboard, you can click on the dashboard. Now, what are the teams? Now, if you want to create your own team, you can create your own team also here. And what are the apps are available? If you have downloaded anything like a Slack or a easy agile team, Rhymes, big picture, if you are if you are using it, you can link with Slack, can be integrated with the Jira. So that can be happen using the Jira software. Now, for example, I wanted to create a ticket. If you want to create a ticket, now just click on this create, and it will give you certain options here. Now, let's say I'm going to summary is basically it is a subject. Subject is created new user, and I want to create a new user in the Salesforce. Now, description is create a user and provide admin access. Admin access to the user. And the details are, let's say, name, Bradbury, and Salesforce license is the Salesforce license, and should have a admin access similar to this. Now, acceptance criteria. User record should be available. The object and user record has to be active. Should be able to access, able to log in Salesforce without any issue. And finally, user should have all access of objects, which is similar to admin access. So this is how VA or like whoever is working on it, they can also work on it. If in case if the VA is, if the VA is not written acceptance criteria, the admin or a developer, whoever is working on this task, they can start writing the acceptance criteria. Now, who is the assignee user? Now, in this case, I have only one user. If you have a multiple user, it will be assigned. So this is who is working on it. Or else you can directly say that assign it to me. What is the label? So like, do you want to attach any label here? Or if you want to attach any ticket to this, like a attachment, screenshot, anything that you wanted to attach. And these are the information. Click on the create. So as soon as it is created, there is a card is created here. Card is created here. Now this card, what will happen is, now right now it is in the sprint backlog. Right now this is in the sprint. Now let's say you wanted to create a sprint wise. This is a Kanban mode. So in the Kanban mode, if you are working on this ticket, now as soon as if you start working on it, just move to the in progress. Now once it is completed, then you move to the done. Now when in case if you are not done, so it's keep it in the in progress. So whenever we update to the in progress, automatically the status gets changed here in progress. The status gets changed into the in progress. So this is how the ticket gets used or created. And you will see all the details here. Now if it is once it is done, just move it to the done. Now it says done. Now here it is updated to the done. That means it is completed. This is the Kanban. Let's say I'm going to create another project, which is a Scrum. Use this template. Now let's say Scrum. Let's say company managed or a team managed. Let's say team managed. Now I'm going to create another one, which is, let's say, Yamaha. So this is the Yamaha project. Click on the next. Now this one, you will see that this is a backlog. This is the product backlog. Now this is Yamaha Sprint 1 backlog. Yamaha Sprint 1 backlog. Now you are starting now you can start working on the Sprint 1, Sprint 2, Sprint 3. Right? So right now it is in the Sprint 1. Now there is no more sprint. So that's the reason. If you want to create your own sprint here, create an issue. Now let's say I wanted to create a second sprint. Now this is the first sprint and this is the second sprint. Now if you want to create another sprint, this is the third sprint. Now you can divide it. What are the issues can be created in the first sprint, second sprint, and the third sprint. Now create an issue here. Now let's say I'm going to simply create here, update the profile permissions. Profile permissions. And that's one. If you want to create a different issue type, but in the real time, you will not be working on creating a stories or something. All things are done by the BA. You just need to work on your own. Now let's say here, I'm just creating a update permissions for the users. So this is what I'm doing it. This is the story to do. I'm not adding any description. Now who is working on this? This person is working on it. Now here I can select the sprint. Now do you want to go for a Yamaha sprint, or do you want to go for a Yamaha sprint 2 or a sprint 3? Which one is? If you say sprint 1, now it will be added to the sprint 1 and click on the wait. So now it is added to the sprint 1. Now if I go to the timeline, now this is the sprint. We need to start the sprint here. Start the sprint. Now, as soon as I click on start sprint, it says that now start date is it's a 2 weeks or 4 weeks or a 3 weeks. You can decide it, which are the week you wanted. So ideally by default, it is a 2 weeks of sprint and click on the start. Now your sprint is started. Now once a sprint is started, now you will see this is the sprint 1. And in the sprint 1 also, you can add a different active like a in progress. Now if you want to add another one like a testing, right? So testing will be now you can choose it. This is can be modified or this can be changed. Now from the in progress to the from the new to the in progress, that means the developer or a admin or a test admin team has started working on it. Now once this is done, it will be moved to the testing. As soon as you are moving the cards, immediately the changes will also happen at the card level. Now it is right now in the testing. Now this is completed. Now we have completed the done. Now that means as soon as it is done, there is a strike will happen. So everything you can see here, now the strike is happened. That means it is done. Now this is, if you want to complete the sprint, you can complete the sprint. Once you complete the sprint, then the next sprint will start it. So this is how the sprint by sprint, the Jira will be available. Now in the real time, we will work on this as well as we will have a Confluence page. There is a something called Confluence page. Now in this Confluence page is nothing but for a documentation. Now we are working on the Jira. Jira is for working on the stories. Jira is for working on the stories. Whereas this is for the documentation. Now you need to create a space for your project. Now this is a Swapna task. Now if you click on this Swapna task, now this is the long back which I have. Now by default, it is created here. This one, I already have a Confluence page. Now in this, I'll just show you the documentation. Now this is a task, or like this, there will be a Yamaha space will be there, Skoda space will be there. So in this space, now let's say, if you want to click on this navigation users, now I have created some documentation here, navigating to the single user. So navigation steps, action, mandatory save. So these are the steps we have to do, and these are these actions, and the screenshot and the save button. So these are the different documentation which we have to do. If you want to do a documentation, click on the plus button and start modifying it. Or if you wanted to add anything like a navigation, add multiple user or a single user. Now, if you want to make any changes, you can make a changes and click on publish. Or let's say update. So once you update this, what will happen? It will update the details. Now these are the different documentation. So like this, you need to create it. So like this, you need to create the documentation like a Swapna task. So one of the student has created this because they have given me the access to view the Confluence page. So it is redirected to the, so whoever is created, the person will be there, right? So if in case if the person is modifying it, it will be modified by the person. So here it will say that Samskar ID. So this is the person has made a changes. Like that, in the real time also, you will have a different users will be there. So if it is a different users, no, like different users is nothing but developers or a admin. You have a, like a 5 members of developers or a 2 members of admin. Anybody can work on the documentation. That means whatever work I'm doing in the Jira ticket, those has to be documented in the Confluence page. Documentation is very important. Every and each step has to be documented. So this is how the task and the stories will be documented in the real time also. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So these are the way we have to do it. Right. So this you can also use for your purpose also, like whatever you are learning daily or whatever the assignment you are doing daily. So those assignment you can create a page here, or you can create a documentation, because this will be stored in the cloud and you can download this. If you want to download it, you can just export it as a Word or a PDF. So you can just download it. So you can also maintain your daily activities, whatever the homework you are doing it, everything. If you want to document it, you can document in the Confluence page. So that's what here one of my student is documented all the assignments. Whatever the assignments I have given in the admin, most of the assignments are documented in the Confluence page. Workflows, homework, everything is documented. So you can also use the same way. You can also create a Jira, and you can also go for a Confluence and document all your stories. So that's about the project activities.